These are some insane confirmed details about GTA 6. GTA 6 will have a far-right militia. What we know from the game's code is that there are random events or side missions that feature a far-right militia. This might be similar to encountering the KKK in Red Dead 2. It looks like GTA 6 is going to have wingsuits and parachuting. There is evidence of this inside the game's code. Because there's a side mission where you find the dead body of someone who is wearing a wingsuit. They just call it dead wingsuit body or something like that in the code, which implies the player could also use the same things. And the reason why I think there's parachuting in the game is because to use a wingsuit, you can't really use a wingsuit and not have a parachute with you, otherwise you'll die, so it's gonna have both, obviously. The Everglades are going to be in GTA 6. Now, the proof of this is that there's a side mission about a plane crash in the Everglades. They just call it Everglades Plane Crash. It's probably the right time to let you guys know that there's going to be alligators and other animals in the game. So this seems like the right time to tell you about all the animals that we know will be in the game. There's boars, alligators, pythons, raccoons, deer, elephants, penguins, pigeons, koalas, seagulls, frogs, rats, dogs, cats, skunks, and there's also going to be sharks. The game literally has shark cages, the things that the divers go inside so that they don't get bit by the shark. So, there's going to be sharks in the game too. Now, there's a really good chance that this is not all the animals in the game. This is just the stuff that we can absolutely confirm right now. And another thing is that you're gonna see these animals eat each other sometimes, and sometimes they're gonna try to eat you. The reason why we know this is because there's files in the game that show that alligators will sometimes ambush the boars either by the leg or by the neck. Kinda like how they do it in real life. They just grab it by the leg and then the fucker's gone. There's a side mission about a rat infestation, so I don't know if this is just something you could do out of nowhere for fun, or if it's a casing mission where, you know how in Diamond Casino there's a big con option where you pretend to be exterminators. So maybe that's what's going on here, or maybe it's just a side mission you could do randomly whenever you want. We don't know yet. There's also a good chance that there's going to be tigers and lions in the game, especially because of the location of the game, which is Vice City, Miami, obviously. But we can't confirm that yet because, we don't really have any proof of that. However, there was a side mission that was titled about big cats, which can, it could either be lions or tigers, probably tigers, we don't know yet. There's going to be a toxic floating trash island in the game, and I assume that it's going to do damage to players and animals that go near it. So in real life, the pollution actually is so bad in some areas that there are literally just mounds of trash all grouped together in the ocean, just floating there. And from the sky, if you're in a plane, if you look down, it looks like a floating trash island. And this game is going to have GTA 6 is going to have bungee jumping as a side activity. There's something in the game's files that show a side mission about a dead bungee jumper, so I'm not going to be surprised if this is an activity that players can actually do themselves. And it's also really interesting, and it shows how advanced that gaming has gotten, the physics and all that you could actually go to an open world game these days and then decide to bungee jump. That's not something that would be easy to program into any game, and GTA 6 is about to be one of the first ones to do so. I think that's really cool. There's side missions in the game about missing tourists, and it has victim locations in strange places like a junkyard, which seems to mean there are serial killers active in GTA 6 that you could track down. The missing tourist missions are in a bunch of different locations around the map, and I'm not really sure exactly how many they are, but there's more than 3, that's for sure. There's a side mission in the game about Everglades fracking. What I know about this in real life is that people in Florida were protesting big time when they said that they were going to start fracking in the Everglades. So the bill that the oil companies put up to allow them to do so was dropped, so the oil companies actually can't frack in the Everglades anymore, thinking that this mission has something to do with that. And also in the game's files there's protesters. I'm not sure what they're protesting about, but if I had to guess, it might be related to the Everglades fracking. Maybe this mission is like a parody of real-life events that happened in Florida not too long ago. There's going to be mountain biking and competitive races. There's not much detail about that yet, but we just know it's in the game so far. The game will also have street racing, and there's also motorsport race courses, really big ones. I'm not sure if there's multiple or if there's just one, but there's probably more than one because it's Miami. I know that sometimes F1 goes to Miami and there is a racetrack that's in the files that looks similar to that. If you have enough money, you're going to be able to buy stores in GTA 6, and it's also possible to be banned from a store in GTA 6. The reason why we know this is because there were options to buy a store inside the game's files, and also there was something else that showed a category about if you were banned from a store or not. Which also means that if it's possible to be banned from a store, that means that the shopkeepers will recognize you and that other NPCs around the map, they'll be able to recognize your face and the things you've done, kinda similar to what we got in Red Dead Redemption 2. While we're on that topic, it's probably a good time to mention that the police will recognize your license plate and your car. There's going to be off-duty cops in the game, which is a series first. No GTA game has ever had off-duty cops that would just be roaming around in the open world. So that means you're going to have to be careful about where you commit crimes, because for all you know, the NPC down the street is an off-duty officer and they will come after you Brazil style. There is also going to be DUI sobriety tests, because there's animations for that in the files. This might apply to NPCs and also the playable characters. It's interesting because it means that unlike previous GTAs where cops shoot immediately, there are different levels to how they approach the situation, and it's much more realistic. Also, you can surrender to the police the same way that you could in Red Dead Redemption 2. You don't actually have to fight, you could just surrender on the spot, even if you have 2 stars. It's possible for characters to overdose in the game. I'm not sure if it's possible for the playable characters to overdose, but we know for a fact that there's overdose animations. There's one for inside a car, outside the car, and also when they're sleeping. In previous GTAs, you're able to drink and use drugs, so it wouldn't be surprising if the playable character can also OD and die. Speaking of drugs, the game does have references to lean, as in the drug, the scissor, you know, that purple shit, purple drink, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that's also going to be in this game, so that could be related to the overdose animations. You're going to be able to see in first person when you're driving a car, and there's options to adjust car seats, mirrors, the steering rake, the sun visor. You can mess with the glove box, the clutch, gas, and brake pedal work in real time. And all of this is a series first, actually. None of this has ever been done in the open world, not even just GTA. I don't think that any open world game has even done this before to this level. The closest game I could think of that lets you mess with, like, you know, the mirrors and things like that is maybe Truck Sim. American Truck Simulator. I'm not even joking. American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator. One of the 2 games, they let you like adjust the mirrors of your vehicle. So, but like seriously, you could even adjust how far away the steering wheel is. You can adjust the steering wheel's reach. You can make it closer or further. They're like, it's literally just like real life. These are things that you can do in real life to all your cars. You can do all these things to your cars in real life. Well, most of them. Like, I mean, older cars you can't. Older cars don't really have a steering wheel or a reach, but a lot of newer cars out these days, they have features like this. And I think it's just fucking insane to see that GTA 6 is going for that level of detail. Little features like this, like, people are gonna overlook it obviously, but little things like that, they really open the door for a more immersive experience, especially when it comes to vehicles, which is literally what GTA is about. There's going to be planes and helicopters in the game, and both could be used by the player, and it may be possible to actually fly to South America. In the game's files, they're calling the game Americas, and the only reason to call it that is if it's possible to go to South America. And there's rumors that there's going to be like a drug trade storyline, which is why the characters would have to go between both countries. When you shoot people in GTA 6, they don't just die right away. They usually writhe and suffer on the ground before dying. There's a clip where the person's testing out the bullets on, you know, different cops, and one cop is seen pushing themselves up a little bit after getting shot in the head. Another one, he's holding his stomach and, like, you know, turning back and forth after getting shot there. And he was, like, you know, doing that for a while after he got shot. The player already forgot about him. There was another cop that was shot earlier who was also doing the same thing, but, you know, he's on his side instead of on his back. Red Dead Redemption 2 has this feature, but I think that it's more prevalent in GTA 6 because it would only happen once in a while in Red Dead 2, whereas in some of the clips that got leaked in GTA 6, it seems to happen almost every time you shoot somebody and it's not in the head. It's actually very morbid, but it's realistic. There's going to be drug lab trailer parks that are probably controlled by gangs or other factions that you're going to encounter in the game. And who knows, maybe you might actually own a few of them. There's not really any way to know the context of this yet. We just know that they exist.